And welcome back to Sports Check on this Monday morning, and it is the 21st day of November 2021. It's the second day of action in Qatar, and this is at the FIFA World Cup. It is the 22nd edition of the FIFA World Cup, and we already have one result where Qatar, lost to Ecuador by 2-0. We'll be going through some of the stories, that came up from that game, especially the numbers, because one of the things that FIFA has done is put out some very heavy data work into this tournament. And that group of people, at the end of the day, the analytics that are going to be done by the technical study group, those will be done basically by the football boss at FIFA, Arsene Wenger. Now, let's talk about that and the 3 matches that are going to be played today. John Aggrey, he is a football data analyst. And John Aggrey, last night, first of all, your overall take on the game, and especially from the perception point. Qatar are not just that easy side. They're formidable. They've been Asian champions. Yeah, they've been. But Ecuador came in
they have
and pulled off something.
Champions in 2019. They have had, I think, around 11 friendlies before this. In fact, for the last 6 months, Qatar have actually suspended their league so they're able to prepare for this tournament. I would say the first half must have been underwhelming for all the preparations that has gone into it and all the money that has been thrown into it. And I'll take you back many years ago, the issue of the Aspire Academy, where I think 3/4 of those players who played yesterday did come from. But in the second half, they got into the game. 0 chances created, 0 shots on target, which I think is a first for a team, and the lowest since 1966, when there was 11 chances created in the opening game. But that said, I think the second half is where they grew into the game. They probably have to start looking for ways to get goals. But as it was yesterday, Ecuador had an easy way in the second half, just relaxed, didn't have to create too many chances because they did all the job in the first half.
And one of the things that struck me when it comes down to the numbers is there's something known as attempted line breaks.
Yes.
This is where you try to breach the
defensive lines.
The defensive lines of your opponents.
Yes.
Ecuador did that 291 times.
Absolutely. And you see...
because that's a shocking start.
It's a shocking start based that a game is over 90 minutes. It's also even further shocking because what Qatar was playing was a 5-3-2. The last time a team played a 5-3-2 at the World Cup was when Germany beat Saudi Arabia. Was it 8-0?
Yes.
Yes. So, I mean, for all that they put...
Hey, that's ages ago.
Yeah, it's ages ago. 2002, right? So, I mean, for all that defensive mindset going into it and to be breached so many times, number one, kudos to them for only conceding 2, because I think Enner Valencia should have had a hat-trick in the first half. But it also just shows you how much data and analytics is going into this World Cup. FIFA is saying at every stadium, there's around 28 cameras watching the players and the ball. The ball has a special chip that is able to relay information to all these cameras, and that is why even the VR decisions are faster now. So, I mean, just based on that, you understand the magnitude of just data and analytics that is going into this game. And if this one shocked you, I think teams like Netherlands that hold the ball for even far much longer will be having crazy numbers. Well,
now, here's something else that I would like to, talk about when it comes to how, this is happening. 7 offsides and Ecuador with a 4. And the kind of play that, trying to break that.
You know what? The coach of Qatar, who was a good student of the La Masia system, drilled this team properly. Away from them conceding the 2 goals and not creating too many chances, I don't think they were really bad. That second half in itself, I would say, is a different game as compared to the first half. And so just based on that, they would get a lot of strength and credit going forward, and in the hope that the next 2 games, which are not easy ones, I think Senegal and Netherlands, they would get a result. But that said, it doesn't go down well to be the first host team to have actually lost an opening game. No other team has ever done that.
Well, and you can imagine that this is for about what exactly would I say? I would call it 90 years of the FIFA World Cup.
Yeah, and even actually more because because these numbers have been chunked from the start of the, when footage was first taken for the FIFA World Cup, all the way to the last World Cup in 2018. So it just shows you how much, I would say, the 6 months that Qatar have put into practice, all those years, that first half, they did not play to the occasion. Actually, they were scared of the occasion.
Well, talking about this, there is something that you would have to feel that's going to come up here, especially with teams that are full of these elite players.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone who's at the World Cup consider themselves an elite player.
Yeah.
But then kind of, passes that are being made. I'm just picking up the stats from last night's game.
Yeah.
930 passes in the game.
Yeah.
480 of them by Ecuador. Completed passes, 790. 409 by Ecuador. That means of the passes that they made, it's just about what, 1/7 of them. Only 1 out of 7 passes
were wrong.
Did not.
The central defender must have been a 20-year-old who plays at Bayern Leverkusen. He actually attempted 27 passes, 26 actually got to the recipient. And the one that did not get to the recipient was actually, it went off. It went off the pitch. So that just shows you how much, not just them looking at the numbers coming to the tournament, but even during the tournament, trying to just explore and be better. Again, remember, Ecuador is the youngest team of the South American teams that have come to the tournament, and actually the youngest ever team from South America to have come to this tournament. They have played around 15 games, won around 11 of those coming to the tournament, and they say that the backbone of how they play is the players at the back being able to complete their passes. You could see what happened at the front. Of course, Ena Valencia has all the experience. He's the only player in that team to have ever played a World Cup. The rest, everyone else is new.
Wow. Yeah. Well, quite interesting. And we're talking about young squads. We'll be talking about 2 of the youngest squads at the World Cup, and they will be playing at 10 p.m. But overall, taking a look at this group, let's first touch on the encounter between Senegal and the Netherlands. 7 p.m., KBC Channel 1. Look out for it on Signet. So let's first of all talk about, the Sadio Mane factor, the fact that he had to go for surgery.
Well, I think Senegal really tried to push their luck and hoped that he would come back on time. I remember he had to go to Austria, I think, for a small surgery, they say, and had to include him in the team with the hope that probably he would miss the first 2 games and would be available for the last game. Unfortunately, the first games against the Netherlands, even more unfortunate is that Sadio Mane is not going to be there. While he's drafted into the team, and you will probably see him in the bench at some point, the truth of the matter is now other players now have to step up. Now, while their play is always based around him, and it has gotten them reasonable success, they're actually the reason Egypt is not at this tournament. They now have to think otherwise.
Now, let's just give us your thoughts about on the squad that Ali Cisse has taken and what to look out for. And, some of the players who will stand out for them.
I would say the goalkeeper. Remember, this team has not conceded above 3 goals in the last 3 years. The highest that they've ever conceded is 2 goals. And it's because of that goalkeeper at the back. He's Chelsea's #1. I think he's Africa's best by a mile. And this is a good place for him to show the world how great he is. There is Ismaili at the front. Now, because Mane is not there, he probably have to run more towards the right and try and support his team. So I think for me, those are the 2 main players that I'm looking forward to see how they play at this World Cup, because Senegal really rely on them.
Well, it was a tough qualification process. Yeah. And for Senegal, it was it's something that they had to prove that their AFCON win against Egypt was not a fluke. Overall, from their qualification process, what stands out for them? Their strengths and that?
I think their strength is the defensive work. They do not concede too many goals. And sometimes they do not, I would say, get a lot of possession in their games, but when they get that shot on target, when they get that chance to bury the game, they do. They have built their play around Mane, and you can see among the players who played for Senegal, in the qualifiers, he was their top scorer. Now, they have to look for the goals from elsewhere, which actually they can get. But the fact that he is missing and is a big part of this team now has to, make the whole team work around and work harder even to get those wins. Netherlands is a tough side. They have played 15 games won 11 of those, drawn 4, lost none. It just shows you how good they are. But again, African champions.
Okay, now let's talk about the Netherlands.
Yeah.
And man, this country keeps churning out stars. I mean, and also, they are yet to break that dark. They've been to 3 World Cup finals, 74, 78, and 2010. Never lifted the trophy. Lost in the semis against Argentina on penalties in 2018. Sorry, 2014. Because they missed out on 2018. What's the thing that makes this nation click football-wise?
You know, they have, I would say, proper footballing academies. You look at most of these Dutch players who play probably in the English Premier League, I mean in Belgium, they have a route from home. They have played in the youth setups at home, but they also have an amazing group of coaches. It's like they keep on churning them. I know Louis van Gaal is coming for his 2nd time, but Louis van Gaal says that the man he watched coach was, I think, is called Rinus Michels, must have been coached in 1978 when they lost. He says that pain is what he's looking to carry forward and try and get a result. The 2014 result says hurt him so much. Now, 2018 he wasn't there, but now he's back for 2022. Probably his last one, I would say. Remember, he's suffering from cancer and has even been seen in some games on a wheelchair. But he says he wants to leave this one, on a high, because actually the Netherlands have a coach on the sidelines. After this, Louis van Gaal leaves. Who joins us after? I think the former Barcelona coach comes in after.
Talk about what's his name? Frank Rijkaard.
Frank
Rijkaard. Now let's talk about the players, because so much talent, but only 11 slots on the starting lineup. Start at the back. I mean, let's start with the keeper. Who would they be picking here?
Is it the Barcelona keeper that I think would be there? Because I think he's played so many games for them over the qualifiers. I would say 11 wins. 4 draws again. I mean, there's no reason to drop him. But then I'm looking forward. You have Memphis, might not be playing. They're saying he has an injury. But then there is Bagwai. It's called Bagwai.
Yeah, Bagwai.
Who was formerly at Tottenham. He went back home. He scored 13 goals in 14 appearances for his club. He's laid claim to starting, and I think he has to start today.
All right. At the back, Virgil van Dijk. How key will this man be?
Has to be. He is going to be really key. He's the captain of the team as well. He plays for Liverpool, has won the Champions League. I think the best defensive talent they've had for the longest time, probably since Van Basten, I think. So he has to step up for his country today. He also says it might be his last World Cup, so he goes all out as well.
Okay, at right wing back, Denzel Dumfries.
Well, a good player. Very exciting. I think I love that he's one of those players who they say is ambidextrous. Can use his right and left foot. And again, a lot of clean sheets for him in the national team, and he has to step up today as well.
So, continuing with this, with the Dutch side, and the kind of players who we've got to, they have got on their side. Kevin Bruyne. I mean, there's the attacking front. Who would they be picking up? Because the choices they always say, they're spoiled for choice at that level.
If Memphis is fit, he has to play. I think also since he went back home, he's played really well. Like I said, Bagwajan has to play. He's on form, and the coach says the first man on his team sheet is the man who's always on form. So I think 4-4-2 for them, and those two have to be at the front.
All right, Frankie de Jong. The engine man, right in the midfield, because it stand out. The interesting thing I noticed, midfielders, if you look at the definition now, it has to be that man who's playing that holding role.
I think he's had, I would not say a lot of success at Barcelona. It's been a little bit mixed, I would say. And for the Dutch team, who have had a plethora of just good midfielders over the years, surely he doesn't rank amongst the best. But then, all those that are the best had opportunities like he had at the World Cup. And so this is his opportunity. I hope he does find Bagwajan with most of his passes, because I think that boy is very lethal. That said, I hope his best turns out today, because sometimes even for Barcelona, it's always the worst of him that does turn up.
Well, now you keep talking about, you know, the qualification that came up.
Yeah.
But it's not as easy as people would think.
Yes.
For the Dutch side.
Yes.
Their opponents, Belgium,
yes,
Poland, Wales,
and actually
all are at the World Cup.
And actually, they got 16 out of 18 points of those teams. They beat Belgium, who are world number 2, home and away. It just shows you how good they are. You know, I think I have a problem with Belgium every time they come to this tournament. It's such a good record that they carry to the tournament, and then when the tournament comes, they fizzle out at the end. Netherlands have never had such a problem. If they start strong, you expect a really strong finish. And Van Gaal says this squad he has is actually a better squad than the 2014 one. To imagine there's people like Van Persie in that squad, and he says this is even better. I really can't wait to see what he does.
Well, so, look out for that match, 7 p.m. analysis at 6:15 p.m. on Signet. Yes, remember that way. You get the free-to-air matches on KBC Channel 1. Now, the early kickoff match, interesting one. England playing against Iran. Iran, here's the thing, ranked 19th in the world.
Yes.
And people, you know, they will keep talking about the politics of the country, but forget the football pedigree of the country.
Iran, 3rd World Cup. Remember, 1998, Iran shocks USA when this whole politics thing is happening. They say they're not scared of the politics. In fact, they love it. So if there's anything to go by that result, and today, remember, the coach of Iran was also in that team then, and now is he, I mean, the coach of Iran has formerly been coach of South Africa. He has been coach of actually Iran as well. He's been coach
Carlos Queiroz.
Yes, assistant coach of Manchester United. He's gone to Portugal as well. He says he loves these competitions. It's crazy that for over 200 games that he's been manager, he's never come against England. And so this is a great opportunity for him.
Okay, so let's talk about the Iranian side and in their qualification process. And because Asia's qualification is one of the most difficult.
Yeah.
Let's start from there.
You know, I think for Iran, it's about the quality of teams that are around them when they qualify. It's not a really easy way to come, but the consistency that they've had. You know, 3 World Cups. Not many teams from that area are able to say that they have been able to have that. And again, the fact that this manager comes after they had qualified. Remember, he was not there during the qualification. There was a different manager. He comes after they have qualified, but he's riding on the fact that he's been coach of theirs in the past. Remember, he got to the Asian qualifiers, I mean the Asian Cup. He did not concede a goal until when they met Japan in the semi-finals. So that's just how good he is. He's not a man that is coming to try things out, but he's been able to do this with this team in the past.
Now, this is very... So, looking at the prospects against the English side, where do you see Carlos Queiroz now trying to figure out this?
Well, Carlos Queiroz has actually surprised a lot of teams in the past, and I won't be shocked if he does surprise England. I know the margin, or the margin of expectation is really low. But England, remember, they also have their injury problems. And for example, in left back, if there's an injury now, then it's a whole lot of crisis, you know. And in midfield, Maddison might not even play today. So they actually have a chance based on factors like injuries, in England. Remember, the English players, all of them have been playing in the league, you know, and the Iran players, some of them have actually not been playing for a while. So they've had a good rest. But for all that it matters, I think England surely should win this one. Not easy, but even a 2-0 will be good.
Now, England, winners of the trophy in 1966. And what's the biggest problem with the biggest headache that Gareth Southgate has is these injuries and managing that.
Yeah, injuries, managing that, and picking always his best team. Remember, at the center of the, at the back, he has a problem with Maguire, who is not playing club football, but performs really well for England. And there is talk that people like Ben White, who are actually playing every single day, should play. But he's the captain of, he is the assistant captain of the team. Of course, Harry Kane is the captain. You always have to pick in tournaments the best players, players on form. he says this is going to be, or rather, it said this is going to be his final World Cup, or rather his final tournament with England. England probably have to look further. But can you imagine if he wins it, then surely you just have to renew his contract. But that said, those injuries might actually hurt him. But he's got, I mean, second-string players. Can you imagine Saka as a second-string player in the English team? Phil Foden scores hat-tricks for fun and has to start today.
The tactics that are there.
Yeah.
3-5-2. And the influence of this for non-English coaches in the EPL.
In the EPL, yeah. I know it's, I think, Jose who first came with it, or rather among the first group of players, I mean, our first group of coaches who came with the 3-5-2. You know, the 3-5-2 is built on the reliance that the wingers can actually act as defenders when you're defending, and then release pressure from the central midfielders. I mean, England as it is, there's a lot of influence from outside in terms of coaching, and there's been the 3-5-2 played a lot. But the old English way of playing, and which Gareth Southgate loves, is the 4-4-2. It gives you the ability to play with your two strikers at a time, but even the two, you can convert them to be 3-5-1-1, which also can be played in a 4-4-2, which can be converted to a 4-4-1-1. So, I mean, he's got options. He can play 3-5-2, but I don't think he has played it in a while. So I would say 4-4-2, the old way to go. If it's really tough, 4-4-1-1 with the one and the two midfielders right behind the one, helping create the chances. And again, they also have some really fast players. Phil Foden, Saka, Jude Bellingham as well, really fast. They can create those chances. So I would say for them, 4-4-2, that influence is there. But again, old habits die hard. And
this is where I want to come in now, is that you've mentioned Jude Bellingham.
Yeah.
There's 20 years ago, having somebody like Mark Manaman in the English squad was an oddity because he was the odd player.
Yeah.
I mean, the odd guy not playing in the English football. 2006, Owen Hargreaves was the odd guy.
Yeah.
But here you have
Jude Bellingham.
Jude Bellingham. Now, it's starting to become almost normal for English players not to be based in England, but getting call-ups. Start with Bellingham at 19.
Yeah.
Sorry, at now?
At 20 now.
At 20 now.
Yeah. You see, for Jude, I think his talent is, I mean, you can't hide it. He's so good at Borussia Dortmund. All these English teams want to sign him up. And so, again, in Dortmund and in Europe, he's scoring the goals. He's actually even better than some of the players who play in the English Premier League just based on raw numbers. And so the coach has no option but to call him. And again, every time he's called up, he does deliver. The only problem we had then was most of these players who played probably in Spain and in Germany, when they were called up for the national team, they failed to deliver. And then they became, you know, a scapegoat, or rather, I mean, for excuses, I mean, by the coach. But as it is now, there's actually even more English players trying to move abroad in search of opportunities where they're not able to get opportunities at home. Remember, the English Premier League attracts the best of the talent. Sometimes when you're not good enough, you've got to find it elsewhere. Yeah.
Now, England, a little story that people, just to put it into context, you know, going into 2018, they were world champions under 17, under 20, and by making it to the semis, they were going to hold the 3 World Cups in the men's competition. But there's something I'm saying with this squad. Young players, Bukayo Saka at 20, you got Phil Foden at 22, Declan Rice 23. What's the story that's behind this?
I actually think it's the influence of the English Premier League. You have to be really good to make it into the team. Look at Phil Foden, for example. The Man City team is littered with talent. You have to be really special to get into that team. And the presence of other players who are really good either forces you to be better or chases you out. And for him, the reverse is true, that it's forced him to be better. Now he has to lay a claim to the English shirt. Bukayo Saka at Arsenal, there was an injury that happened during COVID-19, and then he got his chance and he's just lay a claim to it. I think he has guts. Remember the penalty he missed and still goes on to take another penalty for England and for Arsenal. It just shows you the mentality of these players. And again, the coach is trying to drive away that old mentality of players who probably do not shine for their club, but because they're big names, they have to start for the national teams. This is a whole different English generation. They have played at the under-17, at the under-19. They understand the pressures of the World Cup. Even at that level, remember, the players that they faced at those levels are the same players now they're facing at the senior level.
Well, England will be playing against Iran, 4 p.m. That's going to be the first game that's going to be played today in Qatar. The second one, remember, is on KBC Channel 1. That's the one involving the Netherlands and Senegal. The final match today, the two youngest squads at the World Cup, Wales and against the US. And for Wales, first of all, I mean, getting back to the World Cup after what, 64 years?
Something years, yeah. I mean, Wales have had a problem because the type of competition they have around them is always the Englands, sometimes the Belgiums, and it's really hard to get out of that. That positivity that they got at the Euros, and then they had to play, is it Ukraine? In the final qualifying game, which I thought had a lot of political talk behind it. When they got that 1-0 win over them, I think it just shows you a different Wales side. And again, there's the driving force of Gareth Bale, who had to leave Real Madrid, go to the MLS to get playtime, and now has laid claim to a Welsh jersey. There's a whole generation of Welsh players who are not just playing the English Premier League, they're playing the Scottish League. Their league might not be the greatest, but they've been able to send a team at least to the English Premier League over the last, I think, 4 or 5 seasons. Yeah. So that just shows you the improvement they are having and the influence of the players who leave Wales to go and play outside the Welsh borders.
So much focus on Gareth Bale, but let me bring out the Leeds winger, Daniel James. Remember, he opted not to play for Man United.
Yes. You know, I mean, for James, actually he opted not to play for England.
For England.
Yes. So James
and Man United.
Yes, and Man United, the club. He had to get playtime. At Manchester United, he was not getting playtime. He had to leave, go to Leeds. I think then the coach of Leeds was it?
El Loco,
yeah. So El Loco gave him a chance, and El Loco, as you know him, gives every player a chance to express themselves. He took that opportunity, ran away with it. Today, he's not just one of the best players at Leeds. I think he's one of the best Welsh players, and his speed will be absolutely terrific when they meet teams like England. Yeah.
A name that may have been forgotten from the Wales outfit, Aaron Ramsey.
Yeah. I know, away from the disaster he had with his broken foot, has a great season at Arsenal, leaves, goes to Juventus, and everything goes down. Now he has to try and rebuild. I would say towards the latter years of his age. But again, for all that he's done for Welsh football, you can't leave him. Anytime he's called up for Wales, maybe say for the last 1 year or so, he's actually stepped up for them. And when they got to the latter stages of the Euros again, he stepped up. He had to be called, I think, just based on that. His current form is not the greatest, but sometimes when players put on the jerseys of their national teams, then, you know, just, I would say a dragon just pops up out of them and they deliver.
Their strength, given, you know, we've seen Wales, you know, show up at high competition levels and deliver.
Yeah.
What's their key strength?
I think their key strength is the togetherness. You know, not too many superstars, so they're able to fight for each other. Again, they do not concede too many goals. That game against Ukraine was hard if you watched it for the 2 legs. And the fact that they got away 1-0, it just shows you how mentally strong they are when they defend, especially when they go ahead. People like Gareth Bale have won titles outside there, so they understand. And Aaron Ramsey, they understand. And of course now James, who is a sprinter, they understand what it is when you get to these high-level competitions. They're able to churn off those abilities and those strengths, and they're able to get over the line. I might not say they will go really far, but I mean, for a first appearance in, I mean, whatever plus years, it's just good to have them back.
All right, the opponents are going to be the United States of America, another young squad by Coach Bradley.
Actually, the youngest squad.
The youngest squad, actually. Average age, 24.
Yeah.
The Welsh squad, average age, 25.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this squad with an average age of 24.
You know, America have only carried one player who's ever featured at a World Cup. Everyone else has never been to a World Cup. The whole idea is they're not building for this World Cup. For them, it's the next World Cup. Qatar, for all the money they have in the world, have taken all those years building academies, you know, taking 6 months off. USA, and even if you listen to their team talk when they spoke to President Biden, when he called on them, he says, I know you have a really good team. He didn't say, I know you have a great team, but the future is all for you to take it. And now, with an average age of 24, do the math, in the next 4 years, they'll have an average age of 28. The winner of the World Cup has always had an average age of around 27.5. Somewhere very close to that. So always looking forward to the future.
Okay, now, the coach, Greg Berhalter, his biggest standout name will be Christian Pulisic.
Yeah, I think Christian Pulisic, and there's the little man there called Weah, son to the president of Liberia.
By the way, you know, that's a little bit crazy because, you know, George Weah has taken leave from his country.
Yes.
He's in Qatar to go watch his son play.
Yes.
I mean, how crazy can that be?
You know, George Weah, after winning the World FIFA Player of the Year with Monaco, had a stint in America.
Yes.
So his son actually gained American citizenship. His son chose not to play for Liberia, but play for for the United States of America. He says sometimes you've got to let your children make their own decisions. If the kid is above 18 years old and he feels he can break into the American team, why not? For Liberia, he would probably just walk in without really having to do too much. For the USA, he has to work really, really hard to get in there.
Well, quite interesting that one of the the biggest stories about George Weah is the top scorer for Liberia is James Deba.
Yes.
Who has been the national team coach,
yeah.
And not George Weah because he played in the midfield.
Yes.
Well, Liberia did that. But still bizarre, the president of Liberia is going to Qatar to watch his son play for the US.
Yeah.
And Timothy Weah has come through that under-20 rank.
Yeah. He's actually played all his age grade football in the United States of America. He's not had an opportunity to probably go to Europe, but for the club that he plays for, he is a consistent player. The American coach understands, and remember he's formerly coach of Philadelphia Union, I think, so he understands that league, he understands his strengths, and I think for that position, I don't think he has a really better player. Again, his partnership with Pulisic has been tested in the past. I was reading somewhere, they have never had the same team for the last 5 consecutive games. So this World Cup is for them to probably build a team together. Like I said, again, they're looking forward to the future.
Now, let's actually talk about 4-3-3.
Yeah.
Because that, if you take a look at it, it's something that's probably been adopted by, I think the biggest users of that formation are the Dutch.
Yes.
Anyone who's been Dutch coached ends up playing the 4-3-3.
Yeah. I think the whole idea for the 4-3-3 is to give a lot of attacking impetus, especially when going forward. When you are defending, for me it looks like a 4-5-1 of sorts, because now the wingers have to come back and be midfielders. Remember, the 4-3-3 is built on the fact that you will hold more of the ball against the opponent. So when you have more of the ball, have more of the numbers forward, but again have a strong defensive midfielder, and 2 very good attacking midfielders who as well can also be wingers when forced to.
Now, looking at the US vs Wales, where is that battle going to be? When we wake up tomorrow, what are the numbers we should be looking for as we, just to analyze this?
I think look at the midfield numbers. I think everyone is going to play a 4-3-3, trying to cancel each other out. So look for the midfield numbers. Again, look for the wingers' numbers, because this system is built on having very fast wingers to be able to bring in the ball for the lone striker. As well, look for the striker's numbers, because he has to be an out-and-out number 9. Christian Pulisic, for me, has to be there. Gareth Bale is not as fast as he used to be, so he's going to be pushed more to the wing. So it means their 4-3-3 might, at some point, be a 4-5-1. But that said, look for the wingers' numbers.
Okay, yes. So, now, Aggrey, I know you were here. When Dr. Kamaku and Mary Njoroge were here talking about that. A quick take at, some of the things you've noticed change from the 2018 World Cup and the 2022 World Cup in terms of players, refereeing, and how they behave on the pitch.
I actually was very shocked to see the VAR decision yesterday. For a moment, I said it should be a goal. It was actually not a goal, looking at it again. But I think the Premier League and the Champions League has really spoiled us, because they do the replay immediately. In the World Cup, it takes a while. And then the graphics, I think, are a little better as compared to what we have in the Premier League. The lines are not as drawn as we are used to them, but the graphics are more pronounced, so that you're able to see who is offside and who is onside. But I wish that even as they show us the graphics of the 2 players, then they're able to show the whole length of the pitch, so that we're able to actually see for ourselves how the offside is done. Because there's always an issue of probably a player at the far end of the pitch that you're not able to see. So I'll be looking forward to see how those graphics will be when probably there's an onside for a player, but actually he was at the far end of the pitch and the goal was scored on the other end of the pitch. So that is one of the differences I've seen. Another thing that I expected to see yesterday was actually, is it called the water break? The water break.
Yes, the water break.
Actually never saw it. So it means actually
that was in, they had them in Brazil every half hour.
Yes. I was shocked that I didn't see it. But again, it shows you then those ACs work really well. And there was no need for, a water break. And again, I think the atmosphere of the fans was really good. For an opening game, Qatar are not known to be the greatest of footballing fans. There's been issues of probably they hired fans to come and cheer them.
But you see, they don't. The thing is, they don't shout. They're not like us. But they love their football.
Yes,
and they watch quietly. They are not loud like us.
But I think they created an atmosphere yesterday. I'm not really sure if those are original Qataris.
Actually, they were from all over the world.
All over the world.
Because there's already a meme of somebody doing that younger thing.
Yes, so they're from all over the world. But again, it just shows you how much they've embraced, not just people in the country, but even people from outside who are even able to support them.
All right. John Aggrey, thank you very much.
Always a pleasure.
Yes. And remember, World Cup, Eco KBC. Remember, this afternoon, Dunda Qatar. Right here on this set, it is a program for the fans coming to you, so you can always have an opportunity. You'll be invited and also win some goodies right here in the KBC studios. And on behalf of the team that put this program together, or wherever they are, thank you to them, and to you, the viewer, asante sana. Our sign language interpreter has been Anwangeshi. My name is Daniel Wahome, and I'll live, and Nancy Okware comes in with Tam Rini next.